Okay, so I don't know why this isn't working. I'm trying to record something on the screen. Here we go. So we have today's Chok L'Yisrael. Now, for those who don't know what Chok L'Yisrael is, it's a basically a daily learning cycle. That's one of the more traditional ones. There are many more modern ones that started in the 20th century. This one is inspired by Kabbalistic concepts that although it's already brought in halacha, the same idea, that one should every day study a piece of all the three parts of the Jewish Bible: the Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Kesuvim, the Law, the Prophets, and the hagiographic writings. And so therefore, for each day of the week, there's a little bit of that week's Parsha and that week's Haftarah that covers the Torah and the Prophets. And then for that week, that Parsha, and then it basically goes through the whole Sefer Mishlei, the book of Proverbs. And then when it finishes Sefer Mishlei, it does a little bit of Tehillim of the Psalms. Now, we should, in addition to this, read through the whole Tanakh. I try to do it every year. Meaning we have anyway the Torah that we finish Shnai Mikra V'Echad Targum, which is really done with the Chok. So then Thursday night there's 26 psukim of Shnai Mikra, and then on Friday we finish the Sedra. That's different than some other communities, particularly like Chabad. They do one aliyah every day. That the aliyahs are connected to the days of the week. Since there's 7 aliyahs, 7 days of the week, and so whatever it is, there are different approaches in different communities. But this is the original way brought by the Arizal, that for each day of the week there's a certain amount of psukim, a certain amount of verses, 6, 5, 4, 6, 4, 5, so on. Then there's a chapter of Mishnah every day of the regular 6 days of the week. On Friday, it's a little different. Friday, as far as the Tanakh, we finish the Sedra, we finish that week's Torah portion, Parsha, we read the whole Haftarah, and then one Psalm, usually Psalm 93, is suggested. And then it's pretty much the same for the 6 days of the week. There's Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, six different Sidarim, 6 orders of the Mishnah. So the days of the week correspond to the Sidarim, meaning that Seder Zroim is read on Sunday and Moed on Monday, and so forth until Friday's Taharos. Shabbos is a little different. There is a Chok to be read every Shabbos. It's the same thing every Shabbos. I personally don't usually do that, but I do cover all of those bases every day. In addition to learning the Chok, I try to, like I said, learn more than the little bit that's in the Chok. But that's basically what we're saying here. So it's a whole chapter of Mishnah, and it goes through the whole Seder of the Mishnayos, but each day of the week. So meaning the first chapter of Brachas you're going to read on the Sunday of Bereshis, and then the second chapter on the Sunday of Noach, and so forth, and then on Mondays will be the first chapter of Shabbos, and so forth. Then we have Gemara. Usually it's a little bit of a Gadata, something interesting, a piece of Gemara that's usually from that chapter of Mishnah. Obviously, when we're in Seder Zroim and Seder Taharos, all you have to draw for, even when you finish brachas or you learn need or whatever, But then the Gemara is obviously going to come from brachas or nida, because those are the only ones that we have in the Talmud Bavli. From those starim. And then we have Zohar, which is usually from that week's parsha, but sometimes it's connected to a holiday like Rosh Hashanah or Tisha B'Av. That's the original Chok L'Yisrael. The Chida, the Chidah added Yosef L'Chok, a little bit of halacha and a little bit of musar for each day as well. And during Shovavim, the musar is connected to Shovavim, and quite often the halacha will also have either to do with something that's in Yana Niyoma, that's connected to that day in the holiday season or something, or it could also be like connected to the parsha. Like around Chukas will be the Rambam and Hilchos Para. So it's all kind of connected, usually. Now, the tzaddikim have pointed out through the years that the Baal Shem Tov says usually whatever you're learning that day is connected to that day. It's something that it's a message that you need to hear. Many of the Gedolei Yisrael have said that when you daven, you're talking to God, and when you learn, God is talking to you. And even though we generally think of something like saying Chok to be for the common people, and it's mentioned in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, that's a good thing, a good practice. But even the big tzaddikim, the Gedolei Yisrael, also would learn the Chok. ScreenRecorder would often quote, he saw in today's Chok in the Zohar, and so we see that he learned the Chok in the Samarov. So Chusei Yigdalenu would often, that the Kal Rebbe Shlita said he remembers from the previous ScreenRecorder Zatzal, that he would quote. He said that today's Chok, the Zohar, and today's Chok, and the Samarov would often give advice when people would seek advice on a particular day. They would give the advice based on that which is in that day's Chok quite often. And that's to say that, when a lot of Jews are learning something, it also has a connection. Everything has connections. Today I was feeling kind of depressed, feeling sorry for myself, and I went on and did my learning even though I didn't feel like it. And the Sfarim say that if you're learning two separate things and they have something in common, that's a sign that you're learning is Torah Lishma. Now I see it as like, it's like a wink from God, that like, this matters. And even I've seen secular sources discuss this concept of where things seem to overlap in the world, not just in the religious world, but in the secular world, things like that. There's this guy, Jimmy Bright Insight, he talks about that. I forgot what, he had a fancy English word. It's really not that fancy, but it's not coincidence. It's because it's not a coincidence. It's a sign of the unity of the whole universe and everything, which obviously we religious people will call the unity behind the whole universe God, But he had a lot of stories like that. But I've seen it even in the secular world, because I remember I taught English, what we call English. I taught secular studies. They just generally call that English in the yeshivas. I taught secular studies in a yeshiva, and Fallsburg Cheder in elementary school, 4th grade. And one time we had like that we, because we would cover all different subjects, So when we had 2 different subjects in the same day, and they both mentioned like the Wright brothers or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was, it was totally by accident that there was this overlap, and obviously, and so I mentioned it to the English principal. He said, "No, it's English Lishma." So that we're learning English for the sake of a mitzvah also. I know I've gone on quite a bit about this, and just something I came across today that really caught my attention was today's Zohar seems to be almost mentioning, hinting to current events. And the Zohar does come from this week's parsha, from Chayei, and it has a message. I was listening to Rabbi Weinberger yesterday, my Rebbe from high school, and he was talking about Rabbi Yehuda Levin. He didn't mention him by name, but basically giving teichacha to Rabbi Levin. And I know Rabbi Levin. I met him once. I've always liked him. I've always had respect for him, even though a lot of people don't like him or don't have respect for him. I feel there's enough room for Elu Ve'elu Divrei L'Kim Chaim. And that's something else I want to get into on a separate subject, which I touched on later, but I really want to make a video about it. I know it's going to upset a lot of people. This might upset people too, but so I want to start with this. The Zohar here, if you can read the Aramaic, the Hebrew letters, it says Zohar Chayei, the Zohar from Chayei, from this week's parsha, Daf Kuf Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. So that would be, you could call that 131b. So it says like this: Rabbi Elazar Pasach V'Amar. So anyway, Rabbi Weinberger, he was talking about also concepts behind this, very similar concepts. And it's interesting what he said is that he would usually take that time to teach something from the Zohar, and instead he taught something from the Piasetzner. And he said that what he was saying is, really what the Zohar is all about. And then I find this here, and he said that he's like, in 10 minutes it sums up what the whole Zohar is about. Again, I'm uncomfortable with a lot of things Rabbi Weinberger says. I feel it's a little bit ethnocentric. So anyway, what's this dog doing? Just in the middle of a road, the dog. Alright, so anyway, and it's something I want to discuss a little bit. But let's put that aside for now. And discuss this here about what's in the Zohar, and it is similar to what Rabbi Weinberger said yesterday. So the Elazar Pasach V'Amar Galainai Babita Niflois Mitarsacha. Very beautiful pasuk. I once wrote a niggin on this pasuk. It's not very good, but it's a tune to sing to this verse from a famous verse, Psalm 119. Open my eyes. It's a different word for open, but it's almost like wave my eyes, So, and I will see wonders from your Torah. So it says Kamin and B'nai Nasha Tipshin. So So look how stupid people are. It reminds me like Plan 9 from Outer Space or the aliens. Like, stupid, you're stupid. And then the Zohar is saying people are stupid. Why? Because they don't go and learn Torah. Begin the Raisa kol chayin, kol cheru v'chol tuv ba'alma, dein b'alma da'aseh. People are stupid, they're foolish if they don't study Torah. Why? Because Torah is the whole life and the whole freedom and all the good that's in this world and in the next world. Hu cheru la'alma, dein b'alma da'aseh ihu. This is the freedom of this world and the next world. There's Chachrina, a different version. Hu cheru la'alma da'aseh ihu chayin ba'alma dein. A little bit deeper. I'm not going to get into. Let's just hear the words and absorb them and try to hear what the words are saying to us. That is the freedom of the next world, which is the life of this world. Okay. Chayinun ba'alma dein. It's life in this world. The Yizkun liyomin shleimin b'hai alma. One will be worthy to full life in that world. Kama da'at omar. And that's what it says in Exodus 23, as mispar yemecha male. I will fill up the numbers of your days. El yomin arichen ba'alma da'aseh. That will have long days in the world to come. Begin the inun chayin shleiman. Because that's a perfect full life. Inu chaim dechidu. These are the life of joy. Chaim lo yatzivu. This is a life without sadness. Chaim de inu chaim. This is a life that's really life. A life that is life. A life that's really life. The true life. And I was feeling so sorry for myself today, and the joy of learning Torah brought me back. Right? Cheru ba'alma dein. It's freedom in this world. The chayla. It's a total freedom. The chol man d'shtadel b'raisa layachal n'shalta loykol amand alma. Because anyone who studies Torah, none of the peoples of the world can control him. Oh, v'itema. But maybe you're going to ask, Inun b'nei shmad. What about people in the times of persecution? Gzeira hi milayla. That is a decree from above. Like Rabbi Akiva and his chaverim, his fellows, his colleagues. So when it comes up to the mind that we're talking about freedom from the angel of death, the angel of death could still have control. This is for sure. The following we know is for sure. The adam havas dabak bilana dechaya. The oraisa, that if a person is connected to the tree of life, so we have already the martyrdom of Rabbi Akiva and the tree of life. So if he's connected to the tree of life, which is the Torah, will not cause death to himself or for the whole world. Begin kach, and therefore, when God gave the Torah to the Israelite nation, to the Jewish people, what is written? It says that the words of God were engraved on the tablets. So remember, we said it's engraved on the luchas and the Pirkei Avos says, Al Tikei Choros Al Acheres. You shouldn't read it that it's engraved, but rather that the freedom is on those tablets. That's the true freedom, is in Torah. And if these people didn't sin and abandon the tree of life, there would be no death in the world. Meaning from the time of Mount Sinai, they would have been, if they didn't sin with the golden calf after they received the Torah at Sinai, there would be no death in the world. They would have lived forever. And that's why God said in the Amarti Limatem and the Elyon Kulchem in Psalm 82, it says that God told them, and I said, you are godly. With little g gods, you're angelic. You are not that we're worthy of worship, God forbid, but that that the people could have been. No one's worthy of worship other than God, but they would have lived forever, and you are all the children of the Most High. However, you made damage to this, and therefore you cause damage, and you'll die like a human being. And that's how the pasuk ends. And therefore you'll die like a human being. Valda kolman deshtadel baraisa liyachol shaltaloi auchivya bisha the achshich alma. However, anyone who devotes himself to Torah study, that evil serpent that brought darkness to the world will have no control over it. Amr V'Yesa said, Yehachi Moshe my miss. If that's so, why did Moses die? Yehachi Kevin Lo Chav Lo Yamus. He didn't sin, he shouldn't have died. My Yamus, so then why did he die? He didn't sin. Marlevade miss. No, for sure he died. The Shalta Be Kamrinan. He died, but not by the angel of death. The angel of death didn't overtake him. When Moshe Rabbeinu died, he just walked from one room to the next. He didn't need the angel of death. It was a Mises Nashika. He had a death by the kiss of God. Meaning he didn't die by the hand of the angel of death. And he wasn't corrupted by that. Meaning he didn't die at all. He attached himself to the presence of God and went right to heaven without any death. He just walked into the next world. Just because his body died, his soul remained alive, and so he's called alive. Similarly, we see in 2 Samuel 23 that Benajah, the son of Jehoiada, was the son of a living man. Although so therefore anyone who devotes himself to toiling in the study of Torah, he has total freedom from everything, the whole world. I mean, these martyrs, they didn't die. Sure, their bodies were killed, but their souls are more alive than anything. If anyone's dead, it's the one who maybe is physically alive who shot them. He might be dead inside, but these people are alive. Martyrs. You have Mishaburu, Deshar Amin Aku, meaning that there's total freedom. There's freedom from all subjugation, from the other heathen nations. It's total freedom in the world. it's freedom in the next world. Again, the law is born because they're not going to require anything from him. Dina, he doesn't need to answer any judgment. There's no judgment on him because he's totally devoted to God and to God's word. Tachazi. Come look at this. That's how the Zohar always talks. The Gemara says Tashema. Come listen to this. And the Zohar says Tachazi. Come look. Sometimes the Gemara also says Boyerei. Come and see. The Ben Ish Chai in Parshas Vayikra, he talks about this, how the Zohar was written in Eretz Yisrael, so it's a level of seeing which is a higher than the level of hearing. Seeing is believing, whereas the Gemara Bavli, the Babylonian Talmud, was written in Chutzart, so that's why it's a level of Tashema. But even so, we sometimes hear in the Gemara Boyerei. And I think I saw one or two places, if I can remember properly, that in the Talmud Bavli also says Tachazi. I'm not sure anyway. Tachazi Baraisa Kamarazani learns Siman Isma. Come look at this. In the Torah there are so many hidden secrets. That's why Proverbs chapter 3 says the Torah is more precious than pearls. Kama Geniza and Tamir and Isma. Think of how many hidden treasures are in the Torah. Balda, Kadistakal David, Barucha de Chachmasa. So therefore when David looked with a spirit of wisdom, Vyodakama Poloyan Nafkin Marais, and he saw how many wonders come out of the Torah. Posach va'amar. He opened his mouth and he said, as we started our discourse here, Psalm 119, Gala Einai, Tabita Niflois Materesecha, open my eyes so I can see those wonders in your Torah. Alright. I'm not going to expand on this. Meditate on these words yourself and see how you feel. Alright. And you should all be blessed to Taka, have your eyes open and see the wonders from God's Torah. Talk to God in the second person from your Torah. Baruch Adonai L'olam Amen. Blessed be the Lord forever. Amen.